amidst history's embrace, stands tall, an eminent bastion.
Education has been a very, very important part, integral part of the Scindia family vision throughout the ages.
We want students from all diverse backgrounds and who come from all walks of life.
Our institution provides a one-of-a-type combination of embedded value of Indian ethos along with the spice of modernity.
Shaping the future of India.
The Scindia School is built on a 6th century fort which has about 300 acres of rock which is 300 feet high.
A legacy of 125 years demands that we not only take care of it, but also grow it.
I firmly believe that education in Scindia is not just for livelihood, it is for life.
An epitome of educational brilliance, a cradle for the leaders of tomorrow. One of India's oldest and most visionary alma mater, the Scindia School.
And I don't think that that's any institution in the world can provide, that the Scindia School atop a 6th century hill fort can provide to students across the world.
Located in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, the city of Gwalior holds immense historical significance in the annals of Indian history. Once a center of power for several dynasties like the Tomars, the Mughals, the Marathas, Gwalior still evokes a distinctive regal charm.
Gwalior presents probably the most a unique insight into many facets of Indian history. If you look at the fort itself, you have a miniature India at the fort.
The daunting 6th century Gwalior fort sits like a crown on the city's rich heritage. And the jewel of the crown is the Scindia School, India's premier residential school with a difference. Perhaps the sole education institution worldwide to be cited amidst an impregnable fort.
This was an institution that was envisioned by my great-grandfather, Maharaja Madhavrao Scindia I. And his whole intent was to ensure that there is a local institution that produces great quality administrators.
The school was first established as the Sardar School in the year 1897 by the visionary His Highness Maharaja Madhavrao Scindia I of Gwalior. Originally established for the royals and nobles of the Indian princely states, the Scindia School became a public residential school for boys in the 1940s.
During my grandfather's time, Maharaja Jivajirao Scindia, you were in the cusp of pre-independence to post-independence. And therefore the vision, mission and goals stayed the same, but in the adapting environment, you were then producing, your goal was to produce leaders for the country. From then, if you move to my father's period, Maharaja Madhavrao Scindia II, the school witnessed a tectonic shift because in the 80s and the 90s, the world was witnessing a revolution in information technology. And the Scindia School became one of the first institutions to introduce computers.
In the year 1982, Scindia School is the first school to establish its computer lab. So we are the first school in the country to offer individual email ID to the students. The first school to launch our website that was designed by the students. In 2004, we are the first school to introduce the biometric for the transactions in various counters for the students. 3 years back, we started this AI teaching to our students and the robotics.
The Scindia School has unfailingly been one step ahead of its time, playing a pivotal role in redefining the education landscape of India and thus nurturing leaders of tomorrow.
We have the CBSE curriculum, but we run it the Scindia way.
For more than a century now, the Scindia School has consistently adapted and evolved to the changing needs of the modern world while maintaining its distinctiveness in the Indian education system.
Where in the country would you find students coming and touching your feet every morning?
I think continual adaptability to the environment, holding at our heart our very core of our, which is our sanskar and sanskriti and Indian ethos. I think that really is the differentiator between the Scindia School and other schools of its ilk, not only in India but across the world.
Scindia School is all about character building, and character building comes with education for life.
We have a unique practice called the Astachal, which dates way back to more than 70-80 years in the school.
Every evening, the boys gather at the amphitheatre dressed in crisp white kurta pajama, all in a meditative state against the soothing sunset behind the hills. This is Astachal, the most tranquil moment in the day of a Scindian, the most defining feature in the history of the school.
India, I believe, has a tremendous reservoir of power, and in Hindi what we call our Adhyatmik Shakti, part of India's Shakti for the last 5,000 years.
दुर्योधन वह भी दे न सका, शीश समाज की ले न सका, उल्टे हरि को बांधने चला जो था साधे साधने चला.
It's a place for self-reflection, introspection. We call it the spiritual center of the school.
You are taken to a different realm, where your senses meet the ethereal world. It adds a value to your dimension which is lifelong.
Look at all that we assume to be the truth.
The practice of Astachal involves indispensable virtues like intellectual growth, emotional well-being, spiritual development, cultural enrichment, social responsibility and leadership skills.
In this very fast-paced world of today, it is very important that we imbibe in children the ability to be able to spend time with yourself so that you can speak not only to your inner self, but allow your inner sense also to speak to you.
I think of all the things that we experience at school, and this goes not only for me, but virtually every old boy that I've spoken to, the one practice that impacted us the most was Astachal.
By emphasizing on the virtues of Astachal, the Scindia School aims to create well-rounded individuals who are not only intellectually proficient, but also possess the mental strength and life skills to navigate through the modern world. The school's expansive and open campus is self-contained and offers a vibrant learning environment to nearly 600 students and about 60 teachers.
My father had taken me to visit the Gwalior Fort, and when we were there, we saw children playing on vast fields, somebody was riding, a lot of activity was taking place. And he asked me, son, would you like to study here? I said, definitely, and this is the place I want to.
The school campus offers a wide spectrum of facilities for the students. These include a well-equipped library, an open-air amphitheatre, state-of-the-art dining facility, a swimming pool, more than 20 playing fields, a horse riding ground, a modern science lab and research centre, a dedicated mathematics lab, excellent IT facilities and much more.
The classrooms have all got, smart boards which are like active computer screens. Every day we are thinking of new ways to bring in technology to the classroom to make our learning, teaching exercise more interesting, interactive and modern.
We want a transformational journey of the child. The inner potential has to be found out. And then of course, that has to be groomed further. And that grooming happens when it's not only teaching in the classroom, it's also educating and mentoring outside the classroom.
From debating societies and literary clubs to art workshops and music ensembles, the Scindia School places a strong emphasis on co-curricular activities.
So I started indulging in two things which I was very good at, elocution and dramatics. I started doing very well in my studies, and little things happened which made me very popular.
Another integral part of the day of a Scindian is sports. And the values of discipline, teamwork and resilience that it brings along. As the Scindian School steps into its 125th year, there is renewed emphasis on creating distinctive opportunities for its students. And the school rightfully takes pride in its exchange programs with some of the most eminent organizations around the world.
Currently we have 2 exchange students in school. One has come in from Italy and the other has come from Ghana. We have tie-ups with, the Wellington College UK. We've had with Westminster. Our students have been to St. Mark's and several other, colleges across the world.
With a teacher-student ratio of 1:10, the mentors have the privilege of personally interacting with each of their students. The school has 12 boarding houses. Each house is led by a housemaster who is involved in the day-to-day life of the student as a foster parent and mentor.
Every boy who walks and comes to the school is given houses. Every house has a strong pastoral team along with educators.
KD house is the best. No, Nimari house is the best. No, Jankodi house is the best. KD is the best.
Although between the houses there is a lot of rivalry and competition, but towards the end of it, when they pass out of the school, they are just Indian.
The institution's commitment to students ensures that every Scindian emerges as a confident, well-rounded individual ready to make a positive impact on the world.
We talk about a transformation as an individual who is well-read, who is articulate, who is able to think critically, who is able to take decisions for himself, and also who is able to be sensitive to everything in and around him. It's not only alumnus who make a mark for themselves, it's the alumni who also make an impact in the world and the social fabric in which they live.
Well, your best comment about a school is actually your old boy.
The quest for excellence brings the best out of young boys and transforms them into fine gentlemen. It is this desire for excellence that has created a bandwagon of Scindians who have made a noteworthy contribution in steering India in its path of progress for more than a century now. And one of the most prominent Scindian being the late His Highness Madhav Rao J. Scindia.
Self-achievement, teamwork and power of one. Both worked in school. When you played sports, there was a lot of teamwork. But on the other hand, you had your own achievements, your own scores in schools and academic sports. So I think those two things, to be individual and also be a part of team. And that's the way one can succeed in life. I think that's my learning. That whole kurta pajama in the evening. I still wear kurta pajama in the evening, you know. That life is learning and having fun. And school more so than anywhere else, learning and having fun.
It was my housemaster, Mr. S.P. Mukherjee, who filled in my form for National Defence Academy, telling me, son, you are totally cut out for that. Go to the defence services, you'll do well over there. And I joined the National Defence Academy. And that's when I found that what I had learnt in school was just the foundation, or the right foundation for me to go further from. Get building on it, and I never looked back.
I joined Scindia School. And oh, I found what a wonderful place and a wonderful environment it was on that huge big fort, and excellent teachers, outstanding teachers, and beautiful environment. You went from that fort and the playing fields and houses and whatnot. I found that it was like a heaven for me.
My father always believed in one constant, and that was change. And I remember his words at one Founders' Day address, and he said, "It's only at the Scindia School that you will find," and I quote, "the sounds of computers whirring against the ramparts of a 6th century fort," unquote. And that to you symbolizes the strength of both the fields of Scindia School.
The esteemed alumni of the Scindia School continues to be closely associated with the activities of the school, mentoring and shaping the next generation of Scindians.
We have a Sobir program, Soba Old Boys in Residence. So all these experts who are there out in the world, we invite them. They stay on the campus for a week, for 15 days, and then they interact with the students with what skills they have, which career they have made. That's how the kids get to interact with a person who is actually into that discipline in the field.
I never cowed down to any roughness or dadagiri, shall we say, like Janagarna Mana and where the mind is a fear. These things, I think, are very deep in my heart because of Scindia. And that is why I say, I bow down to Scindia and I say, thank you, Scindia School, for giving me so much. I'm so grateful to you.
Scindia School is different. The approach is strongly built to survive, to sustain and be Indian and yet be totally modern.
In an era where sustainability has become imperative for the well-being of our planet, the Scindia School stands out as an exemplary institution that prioritizes sustainability through its comprehensive programs.
There is a challenge of climate change, and therefore what we are trying to do at the fort is create a biosphere where our students will be able to understand, will be able to adapt, and will be able to mitigate effects of climate change.
13 kinds of grasses. We found that the best way to interact with kids is to actually have a small select band of kids who become role models. And when other kids look at them having fun, enjoying the meadow, gaining knowledge, then they want to join them.
For the present, our challenge is to make children aware, make children somewhat more knowledgeable, and make children more sensitive to the aspects of the environment.
The campus, dotted with many well-constructed water bodies, also known as tals, fine example of a blend of historical magnificence and modern know-how.
Over the last 6 years, we have cleaned the tals, we've repaired the tals, and we built runways of water which bring the water from different parts of the fort into these tals. And we expect that in another 5 or 6 years, we will be close to reaching full self-sufficiency of water. Then beyond that, perhaps, to be able to give some water to the city of Gwalior.
One most important powerful element is their element of service. So all these Scindians are part of powerful service programs, 2 villages which we have adopted, Nathukapura and Sonsa village. They have made a huge difference to the life of the people there.
Scindia School
देश में जहाँ भी जाता है वहाँ इस तरह के काम करता है कि जिससे विकास हो। तो हमारे यहाँ भी ये नाथों का पुरा है, वहाँ बहुत काम किया है। यहाँ आप देख ही रहे, ये सब जितनी बिल्डिंग और ये वो सब सिंधिया स्कूल के बदौलत है।
Along with various community service and outreach programs, the school also actively engages in environmental awareness and conservation activities.
We take pride in the fact that we are a zero food wastage school. The waste from the school is recycled and used for better plantation within the school itself, and no waste from the school is being added to the city.
The Scindia administration firmly believes that the process is more significant than the outcome. Therefore, the school instills in each child the core values of dedication, devotion to one's calling, perseverance, integrity, honesty, and to rise above mediocrity. A legacy of over a century is all set to take step into the future.
Scindia has been something which has turned me from a shy boy into a man who could encounter anything at any point of his life.
I am overwhelmed with a sense of history and with a sense of culture.
This institution has produced some of the biggest nation builders, and I hope to join them once I pass out of this glorious institution.
What do we say to a parent when they walk into the doors of the Scindia School? This is your child's home, away from home. And all of these experiences at the Scindia School are those intangibles.
All-roundedness, sensitivity, being introspective and thoughtful, those are, I think, the qualities that Scindia School puts into every Scindia.
We combine the best of tradition with the best of modernity.
The vision of boys rooted in their Indianness and yet with a global mindset.
Can you find 7th generation studying in the school of a 125 legacy school?
As a Scindian, I imbibe the value, as our school's motto stands for Savidyaya Vibhukte, which stands for the knowledge is that which liberates.
Wherever I go in this life, I'll always be a Scindian at heart.
It is my fervent hope that as the city expands, the fort stands as a beacon that will throw its light through its alumni across not only the city of Gwalior and Madhya Pradesh, but across India and maybe across the world.